All is One Reflections, everyone. I am Priestess Olaia Ifa Shabi, and we have a very special Sirens Lounge planned for tonight. So I'm going to go ahead, do my last little notifications, and we'll get started in just a few moments. When you're coming in, go ahead and let me know where you're at and drop a water sign or a mermaid sign. All right, so we got some folks joining us. So let's see who we got. We got Asia, All is One Asia, All is One Jordan from Cali. Hey, we're right here on the West Coast with you. We're up here in Portland. Hi, Kayla. Ooh, in Portland. Hey. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into it because we have so much to go over tonight. Like it is about to be real juicy. We got some good stuff lined up for us this evening. So I'm gonna go ahead, get my introduction started. So, all is one reflections, everyone. I am Priestess Olaia Ifa Shabi. I'm an initiated priestess and minister in training with the Orisha Hoodoo Institute. I'm the owner of Yummy God's Inclinations, a spiritual offerings boutique specializing in customized healing tools. I'm a community priestess by way of career as the executive director and co-founder of the Black Community of Portland, a grassroots nonprofit in Portland, Oregon. I'm everything you need and more. I am your self-love plug. And this is Sirens Lounge. Tonight, we have one of my dearest friends and confidants and elder sisters in the world, Michelle M. Lewis. She is a sacred woman practitioner. SWP. Michelle has a BS in Human Services from University of Phoenix in Portland, Oregon, and an MSW from Portland State University. As a former mental health practitioner, she worked 15 plus years in the human services field, providing mental health, counseling, and direct services to justice and DHS child welfare involved families. In 2019, Michelle left the MIC Medical Industrial Complex. She, alongside her husband, opened Third Eye Books Accessories Gifts, which the leading Black-owned bookstore in the Pacific Northwest that thrives to give all customers a unique and fulfilling shopping experience. I frequent this bookstore. I just got to add that really quick. I frequent the bookstore and right next the wellness space. Okay, so if you don't know about it, you need to look it up. Go to Third Eye Books. All the books you need, every topic, literally. Okay, back to the bio. Sorry. Within the past few years, the bookstore has expanded to include Third Eye Holistic Wellness, which opened in 2022. Michelle's desire to understand the complexities of the world led her to study African spirituality, meditation, Kemetic, and Usui Reiki, astrology, numerology, and herbalism, among other things. Through her own physical health struggles, Michelle has gained a wealth of knowledge about herbal medicine and other natural spiritual modalities. This passion led her to open Third Eye Holistic Wellness, where she offers community members alternative healing services such as somatic therapy, i.e., Reiki, vibrational sound therapy, biofield tuning, all the good things, Michelle engages in decolonized healing practices when working with community members. She has created a safe space with Third Eye Holistic where anyone can access liberation, joy, and healing for their mind, body, and spirit. In her downtime, she enjoys spending time with her grandchildren, reading, listening to music, and traveling. Thank you so much for being here. Go ahead,
Well,
introduce yourself.
thank you for having me. I mean, you said it all, sis. I mean, you know, every sacred woman on the move, I try to tap into things that the ancestors draw me to. So it's a blessing to be here, share space with you, and also to connect with your subscribers and listeners. So give thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. All is One Reflections, everyone. Thank all of y'all for joining us tonight. So, I just want to kind of get into it because I have been doing my own womb healing for a continuous time period. And then more recently, I've had to expound on my womb healing in a whole new way. And so, this series is not only personal, but it's very much needed, right? So, conversations, there's a quiet ache many of us carry, a disconnection from our wombs, our center, our source. We've been taught to ignore the pain, dismiss the symptoms, and silence the questions. But the womb holds memory, and she holds trauma, and she holds power. In this space, we gather not just to talk, but to listen, to feel, and to remember. Womb healing is not a one size fits all. Like for some of us, it's herbs and steam. For others, it's movement, sound, and prayer, right? It may look like journaling, sobbing, screaming, resting, or finally learning what your cycle is really trying to tell you. This conversation is a return to the wisdom in our blood, the stories in our scars, and the truth in our bodies. We are diving into womb healing and the many techniques that exist, some ancient, some emerging, and many still hidden in plain sight. So, this is not just about healing, this is about a reclaiming. Okay. And every womb has a story worth telling.
Yes.
Michelle, as a sacred woman practitioner, you've held space for so many women to reconnect with their wombs in deep and transformative ways. To begin, I'd love for you to share, what does womb healing truly mean to you? Like beyond the buzzwords and beyond the rituals, what is womb healing for you?
Well, womb healing for me, like for you on a personal note, I suffered a lot from fibroid tumors, had very severe um, menstrual cycles, not really understanding what was happening to me and how to be in tune with my womb. Like, what is my womb telling me? So for me, womb healing is like I say, reconnecting to our body, grounding ourselves to our body, accepting our body, our womb, and believing that we have the divine right to heal, and we also have the ability to heal ourselves. We just having that willingness to tap into it. And so womb healing really is about, like you say, reclaiming and knowing that we can be well. That this isn't a end all be all. Even when we've had to have some type of surgical procedure, you know it doesn't make us half a woman, less than a woman, and some of us have that narrative. So really it's about reclaiming and owning that part of our body that is very sacred and very powerful. So that's what womb healing is to me. It's a reclaiming, it's a rebirth, it's a reconnect, and in a place. I think our womb is it's a spiritual energy center, our eritu, and I think it's a place that we can go to,
Mm-hmm.
because we it gives us a lot of messaging. Our womb space, that stomach between the sacral and the solar, gives us lots of information. So it's a wonderful way to reconnect so that you can
Mm-hmm.
trust yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like womb healing is the intentional process of reconnecting with yourself, nurturing and restoring our energetic compass, our emotional and physical and spiritual health. Like, womb healing is all the things wrapped up in one for me. It acknowledges the womb as a sacred center, which is something that for me personally, I wasn't taught for it to be that of what it is, right? Like, that's not something that's like, it's not a regular part of the conversation. Maybe nowadays, maybe in my current generation, it's starting to be, but before it wasn't, you know. But it's also the intention. Intention is everything, you
Mhm.
know. And then connecting with the womb for me is bringing in that memory and then amplifying my personal power. That's been one of my favorite parts of my womb healing, has been able to amplify my personal power just as a person, like as a woman, you know, just in general.
Mhm.
Womb healing, also in my experience, it involves releasing that stored trauma. And a lot of times that is the trauma that we thought that we already healed from, the things that we thought we already moved on from. And sometimes that first initial, okay, we got this, we're healed, is just the first level. And there's so much more buried deeper that we really have to like uproot to get past that trauma. That's why womb healing is so imperative, so that you can really get past all the things that you need to.
Absolutely. When you heal your wound, when you it's a I always like to tell people expect things to get worse before they get better.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're in a society now where we want quick fixes very quickly for something realistically. When you slow the brain down, come to the prefrontal cortex where we do our executive reasoning and function, because a lot of us are operating back here in our reptilian brain. That's the where we go with trauma, food, clothing, shelter, safety. If any of those things are messed with, we leave here and we go right back here to survive. But we want quick fixes. And a lot of what's happened to our womb really didn't happen overnight. And also, as an African woman, that reminder that we are also epigenetically carrying that unhealed womb of our ancestors and our lineage that's handed down.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into that
You're still muted. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Did that work? No. How's that? No? Still? One moment, folks. We're having some technical difficulties with the volume. Just give us one moment. But while we're handling this, let me know in the chat if you have some history and experiences with your own personal womb healing.
we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't know what. Yeah, Well, see that's I always say, technology. Hmm.
Ogunye.
But yes, we gonna keep it moving. But I was just saying that healing that womb, also having that understanding that when we heal our womb, we're also healing the womb of our ancestors that came before us.
Mm-hmm.
We can get a chance to do that. So it's just something to keep in mind that you may be the very individual, whether we like it or not, that has been tapped on to do the work that your ancestors were unable to complete. Because women, we are the givers of life.
Period.
So We don't have to like it, but some of you just know that you're healing the wounds of your moms, the mothers that came before you, the aunties, the grandmothers who didn't get a chance to do that. And so it's not
Mhm.
always easy work, but it's freedom.
It really is. So that was like my next part is how do you define when you're working with women who may have never even thought about their womb as a sacred space, like as a portal, as that connector to their ancestors?
Mhm. You know what I how I let women know that when I'm working with them is first is to remind them to that we are the givers of life. Nothing exists
Mm-hmm.
until it comes through the womb of a woman. And really is talking to women about it's such a gift. And when we can see our womb as a gift, I think oftentimes when we value that gift, we're not so quick to give it away. It looks like. So just know it's that you have so much power that, like I say, nothing comes to this realm without the body of a woman. And some people have never heard that. They think how we've been socialized in this society with the European mindset is that women are here to have babies, pleasure men. Most women tell me that, and they don't know anything else. But when I tell them it's more than having babies and pleasuring men, it's like, whoa, what could that look like? And that is one to say, I have that power to say no. I have that power to do what I want to do, to have my freedom around my womb. If I want to share it freely, then that's my power and choice to do so. So just really, talking and educating women about, yeah, um, yeah, nothing comes. That's always stood out to me when I heard that from Queen of Fool. Like nothing comes to this realm throughout without the body of a woman.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And for those of you who do not know, the Sacred Woman Practitioner. So, the Sacred Woman Practitioner is a legitimate, world renowned organization. If you've ever read The Sacred Woman, if you have the book or the journal, I own both. You go through gateways, and Queen Afua takes you through literally the first part is healing your womb, but she essentially is helping you to come into your divine self. And so our guest, Miss Michelle Lewis, here is a divine, sacred woman practitioner, and I'm so grateful because this conversation, I really, it's not just a conversation that needs to be had, but it's one that is very deep and very meaningful, right? And so just the knowledge of knowing that everything starts and comes from our portal, I think is information that should really be given. Like it's not something that should be kept a secret. Every woman should understand. You literally are the vessel of a portal. Like and taking care of your womb matters. Healing your womb and the previous generations that come before you and the future generations that are coming after you is what is going to strengthen your bloodline. You're not going to break curses without doing womb healing.
Yeah.
Womb healing is like your first level of being a curse breaker. Many of us, consider ourselves to be curse breakers for our families and for our bloodlines. But without doing that womb healing, you're not doing no curse breaking, because that womb is what is connecting you to your ancestors, right? Your dearly departed. It's what's connecting you to your descendants, those who are coming after you. So
Mm-hmm.
having a full and clear understanding of what womb healing actually is, what it means for you, is very, very important. So I'm like, I can't get over us having this conversation because I think about these things by myself all the time. I have questions sometimes with some of my sisters. We have these conversations where we're just like, damn, we need an elder to ask. We need to, like we need somebody who has already been there, done that, and can give us the 411 on what we need to know and how we can get through it. So these conversations are just the beginning. I'm so happy and pleased.
And
Uh,
I know that part you said also, like I said, wonderful reminder that when you're healing your wound, you're also, like I say, the generations, the ancestors that are connected in your line. But also, what we say too is the paret, the seed that has not yet been born. So, for those of you who are, contemplating bringing life forth, for yourself, before I've worked with women who are planning pregnancies and prepping their bodies to bring forth life. And when I talk to them about womb work, they're doing this ahead of time because this is a seed that has not yet been brought forth yet, the paret. So think of that in that nature, that you are also healing your womb. So when that beautiful life passes through that portal, the belief and the hope is, and we will say that we will speak as though it has already happened, that chain has been broken. You have interrupted that what we call that generational, that epigenetic traumatic pattern that is encoded in all African people's DNA. So I've had talked to, people say I want to give my child or my baby a fighting chance. Yes, this is another way. You're just making sure that when you bring that life forth, you are able to give that child the best possible chance as they enter that, because they're going to be resting in the primordial waters of your womb. And so that's a wonderful way to be prepared to bring that life forth. So I just wanted to put that out there.
yes, absolutely. And then, when you think about bringing life into the world, you have to consider your experiences before and during that pregnancy, right? Like, you really need to cut every toxic person off in your life so that your portal is not malfunctioning in any way,
Mm-hmm.
and that is just for lack of better terms. But essentially, if you are in a healthy space, you've been doing womb healing, and you have some good holistic care for yourself, you could be like my homegirl right around the corner from me and talking to her baby while she's pushing him through the portal. Okay,
Yeah.
it's real. You're not just Women have these real life experiences where they are connecting with their child while they're giving birth, prior to giving birth, and when the baby actually breaches the portal, that connection it's instant, and it's deeper than just that skin to skin, because you've already spiritually connected with that soul. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I've heard some amazing stories, and being a woman myself who is going to be doing intentional baby planning and going through all these different processes to preserve my fertility, I know that womb healing is like my number one thing outside of these Western doctors, right? Because when I tell you, I go into the doctor and I tell the doctors, they're like, oh, well, it doesn't seem. And I'm like, yeah, because I've been working on healing myself, right? So I yoni steam. And my doctor, she's just like, oh, yeah, keep that up. You're doing great. Because we have the abilities and capabilities of healing ourselves and
Mm-hmm.
pulling ourselves through all the things that we never thought we could.
And our ancestors did it for a millennia, way before doctors. As like I said, speaking as an African woman, we didn't have doctor. My mother's mother didn't have doctors. We couldn't. We were baby catchers. And
Mhm.
we used the herbs. We used the prayers. We spoke what we talk about were hekkas, words of life to our child as that child was entering the world, like you said, speaking to that child, and the power of bringing it. I remember when I had my third child, and I was able, and was blessed to have an African midwife, but being able, the power to pull my child from my womb, to feel it. Just it was, and it's a connection. And I thought I like to pull your child from your. I was like, man, you can't put words in it. And you're right, there is that symbiotic connection. And I look at my youngest, and we are just, connected. And that was my very first. I have three, and he was my only child, where I had home birth. And it was the best thing. Hmm.
I'm hearing so many wonderful things about her home birthing and having a doula and just going through the most magical, whimsical pregnancy and birthing experience ever. Like wishful thinking, right? That's what a
Hmm.
lot of women say, but part of this conversation is changing that narrative because you absolutely can have the most magical and whimsical pregnancy and birth, right? You
Yep.
just need to have the right community around you and to
Correct.
have the knowledge and information so that you can obtain that. But we all can obtain that. It's not something that's so far removed from us.
It
Like it's
isn't.
at
It
the
is.
tips of our fingers.
And not being scared. I think also, like you said, when you're preparing for that path of bringing life forth, is also noticing who's around you, being mindful of what speaking to you while you're carrying that beautiful child. Being mindful that you know people have, they tell you those traumatic birth stories. And I'm not trying to say that women do not have uh, sometimes problems with their delivery. However, I do think when you're around people and they're telling you, "Oh, it's going to be hard. Oh, it's going," that has an impact on you. So, as you said earlier, it's really important that you center yourself or have people around you that's going to speak life to you. And be realistic. Giving birth isn't, it's not a cakewalk. It's hard work. But man, you don't want somebody to scare you into thinking that a home birth is unsafe. And we, African, we have a lot of trauma stored in our body. And boy, all it takes is somebody to come along and plant that seed, and then all bets are off. You don't want to do it. But it's also going back. It's part of your power to decide how you want to do that. And often that was taken, remember, that was taken away from us uh from our ancestors. We didn't always get to have a choice when, where, and how. Now we do. So that's part of reclaiming that too, as part of womb health, womb healing as well.
And then also, previously in our last show, we talked about um, womb wellness and we spoke about doulas, right? And what our reality is that many of our ancestors were doulas and catching the babies, right? And there wasn't no such thing as going to a hospital. You had that baby in that cabin, you had that baby in that field or wherever you were when that baby was coming. You had that baby there, and your doula, your auntie, whoever she was right there with you, had her knapsack with her medicine in it, all the things that you needed, and
Yep.
was in good with the slave master to be like, look, she needs some time. You can't
Hmm.
put her right back out there like that.
Yeah.
And just in
Mhm.
my own personal research and study, you know, I've seen that repeated story. I've seen that repeated story. So it's like, okay, when in Africa, you know, we're
Mhm.
not there, but we definitely have, some of us have, DNA and ancestry from different parts of Africa, and we need to tap into that. And so womb healing is going to help you tap into that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Regardless of what you have going on, it's going to help you. I promise it is going to help you, even if it just amplifies your personal essence, even if all it does is connect you to your ancestors and make you believe, even if just connecting to your womb is going to lessen the anguish you feel when your moon time is coming, right? And for those who don't know, your moon time is your period. It's synced up with the moon. You know,
Absolutely.
1 and 1 is 3, as my Ia says,
Hmm.
So definitely we need to be doing our womb healing.
Yes, yes.
We need to be on it.
And you guys are putting some really good notes in there. Yes, a lot of times they'll tell us, that women who have had maybe high risk pregnancy or can't have can't they don't recommend home births. And that happened with my first one. I had a cesarean. I was young. I was in a hospital, a teaching hospital, where I was surrounded by most often people who didn't look like me, who were just there to observe and not respect my space and my body, but also having the trauma around pain, which I learned in my womb health, what made me make a clear decision that I didn't want to have any children. I don't have any regrets, but at the time I had to make that connection about why, even though my beautiful husband wanted many children, I just was like, no. And it was connected to my own trauma around uh, um, the epidural, having spinal blocks. It just wasn't a wonderful thing. But when I got my second one, I was able to meet a midwife, and they kept telling me, "Oh, you can't do that." My midwife was like, "Yeah, you can. This is a medical health industrial complex that's meant to make lots of money. So any way they can get some more money, they're gonna want to cut on you. That's where they get money." So I think once again, trusting, healing the womb gets you to begin to trust that you can do this. You have the strength to do it. But when we got that trauma, we're disconnected from our womb, and we'll allow others to make decisions for us without even, because it benefits them more than it benefits you. So when you heal your womb, you can trust you can trust your intuition, and that's
Hmm.
you need to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And one thing that this particular piece of the conversation is bringing up for me is having a relationship with your Ori. Your Ori is not going to allow any bad in, right? So, connection to your womb, healing your womb, having a connection with your higher self, right? Like your Ori is going to give you the insights, the information, and downloads that you need. If you're not connected with your Ori, you need to see Oshun Kamibi, get in that free mentorship, and then you need to go see Priestess Omoshule, and you need to get connected. She does Ori reading. She can give you a regimen, do all the things that you need to do to be connected with your higher self. It is the most pertinent thing that you can do, even prior to starting your womb healing, because your Ori controls who and what gets in, right?
Mhm.
So, not having that connection, you ultimately can be blocking blessings, blocking information, downloads, and things that you need to get to that space of healing. I personally have a long history of womb healing that I've had to do over the last like 8 or 9 years, right? I had my first surgery when I was 14. I'm a 40-year-old woman and do not have children. Half my reproductive organs were taken at 14, and here I am at 40 still trying to figure out how to produce. And it's coming, it's in my name. Ifa keeps his promise, right? So I'm not too concerned with the outcome, whereas I'm more focused on the healing that needs to happen for me personally. What are the things? So that's where I'm at. And let's get into these healing techniques, because I think the healing techniques are going to round things up for our listeners and our viewers today, to kind of get a clear idea of just how simple it really is
Mhm.
to do
Mhm.
womb healing. It is not rocket science.
Nope.
It really is not rocket science, I promise. And I'm not trying to be no asshole. I'm just saying, like, womb healing is not rocket science.
And it's not expensive. It's not expensive. So that's another thing too, where people, sometimes it be well, you may have to you have to spend a little something. If it's a herb that really does a really great job for you, I have to think about the cost benefit analysis. If I'm out and I'm willing to go, I say, and I'm not vegan, but it it costs money to be vegan. If you go in these stores nowadays, it's sad. We
Mhm.
can. I hope people agree with that. That it costs more money to eat well and to be healthy than it is to get all this other crap that they want to serve us.
Yep.
So we have to do that cost benefit analysis. If buy this, yeah, it might be extra $10 or $20, but over the long term, it's going to benefit me. So we got to start thinking of the long term versus the short term, immediate. And now let's go right back to our womb, because we're disconnected from our womb. We'll always be questioning what is best for us. We'll always. And if you're listening to somebody else while you're disconnected and it benefits them, they're going to tell you what's going to work to benefit them. So that's these stores that don't want us to be well, and we go right on out and we'll spend X amount of money to get all the bad crap, versus I'm gonna go and spend this little extra little coin and get what I need to feel well. I hope I'm making sense, but it's just something to think about.
It is. I tell you, when I go into the herb store, even just going to Third Eye Holistic Wellness, when I go in, I'm spending no minimum of $80 just on holistic wellness. I got some teas, that sunrise tea, on point. On point. The sunrise tea is my favorite. But also, just, it's like you said, it costs more to be healthy than it does to be unhealthy.
Mhm.
And those who choose to be cheap don't always have a long life, and they don't get the results that they want. So it's really up to you in your journey and what you choose. People were shocked when I went vegan cold turkey in 2020, but I'm serious about my wellness. Like, I'm serious about my healing, and I know that it's going to take changing eating habits, wellness habits. I'm sorry, y'all, I got a 6-month-old puppy over here who's a baby. It's all the things, right? So let's get into these healing techniques. So, womb healing techniques today. We're going to start with my favorite, yoni steaming. It's my favorite. Yoni steaming is ancient wellness, holistic healing. 1 second, I got to. Sheesh. Ancient wellness healing. Yoni steaming is my favorite. I am a yoni steam practitioner, so I administer yoni steams, make custom blends, and all of that, because we all have our own healing needs, right? So yoni steaming has been one of my key healing methods that I use in my womb healing practice. I have a yoni steam seat in a space that I have in my house that is just for me and my healing and my wellness. But yoni steaming is very, very simple. Hot water and herbs. It's not rocket science, y'all. It's not expensive. You can definitely obtain yoni steams. You can definitely get a yoni steam seat. I do not suggest getting a plastic one that you sit over your toilet. Do not do that. Don't do it. Just don't do it, okay? And don't come to me telling me that's what you got, because I'm gonna side eye you. For real. I'm not like, I'm serious. Don't do it. Don't do it. So yoni steaming. You have anything to add for yoni steaming?
No, yeah, like you said, it's very simple. Herbs, you know, um, and then I think the only thing is giving yourself time. I go back to time because we are in our society now, we want everything, we want to move fast. And when I have steamed, when we set that up, think about your intentions, because our thoughts affect how we feel. How we feel is going to have an impact on how we behave and respond. So even when I do sacred baths, I'm very intentional. What I want what is the purpose of this bath? How will it serve me? This is not about getting clean. This is about using your womb as a gateway to tap into that higher consciousness, that third eye, to asking your ancestors to be present with you, to reveal to you what needs to happen
Right.
so we can change the trajectory we're on around. healing.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite aspects of yoni steaming is being able to make it ritualistic. You know, I do a yoni steaming ritual. You've had one of the yoni steaming rituals that I do. And I just feel like the intentionality behind the herbs, right? The music. What are the chakras we're focusing
Mhm.
on? What are the areas?
Yeah.
What is your personal intention for doing this yoni steam? Right? Are
Mhm.
you cleansing your body before you try and have a baby? My
Mhm.
client, one of my clients will tell you, "Oh, I have a baby by me." Yes, absolutely. I want you to have a baby by me. But first, we're going to get that cleansing done.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then you can get to having a baby by me, right?
Mhm.
All the intention behind the steaming is what makes it so healing. Now, can you just yoni steam to have WAP? Absolutely. You absolutely can. I have a yoni steam called WAP to help with wetness and tightness and cleansing and all that good jazzy stuff. But if you really are intentional about your womb healing, breaking those generational curses, preparing your body for birthing, whatever your situation is, you're going to have an intentional yoni steam.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, intention is important. A lot of times, when I'm in the gate and practice of sacred silence, sometimes spirit will tell you this is a moment for you to be silent. So while you are steaming, you can get those downloads. But if we got the music and we then brought our phone in and we scrolling, and then we miss out on all the good parts. So we have to kind of be very clear about like what am I doing? What is the purpose? You know, um, I'm not going to do this for 5 minutes, as a check off on the list that I got it done. But
Mm-hmm.
really think of it as a gift to yourself, a very sacred gift of healing that you're giving to yourself, and healing takes time. So you got to allow you, I recommend you give yourself time to be present in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And quiet time, not the noise around you. You have to find that special time of day, night, or morning where you can literally go into yourself for 20 to 30 minutes. And I tell my yoni steaming clients, oh, you're going to sit in silence before the steam and get your intentions right. And then after the steam, you're going to sit and get your further intentions right. After you've steamed, we're going to renourish you. We're going to rehydrate you, give you some coconut water and some fruit. And you're going to sit here in reflection.
Mhm.
That literally is a part of my service and a part of my process, because it's not just, it's a healing method, right? Like it's a modality that you can use to heal. You can do this yourself. All
Yes.
right. So let's get to the next. Sacred womb massage. A womb massage is gentle in its external abdominal technique that stimulates the blood flow. A lot of us have poor circulation in our womb space. And so a sacred womb massage will help to stimulate that blood flow, help to get the energy moving around. You know, if you've ever done any chakra cleansing or healing, you know that stagnant energy kind of pushes you away. So if you're feeling that stagnant energy when you go to do a sacred womb massage, you need to continue to try and do those womb massages and figure out why you're unintentionally blocking that healing, right? Because that stagnant energy is preventing you from actually getting to the root of the issue. So the
Mhm.
sacred womb massage will help with that.
Yes, yes. And I use essential oils. There's various essential oils that can be used for for the womb. This is a book I wanted to, and I'll bring it back up. This is Overcoming an Angry Vagina by Queen Mother Afua. Now, if you're able to get your hands on this book, this is good. Trust me, I'll try to look for them in the bookstore. For the bookstore, and they're hard to come by. You might be able to find one online. I tried to locate it, and I'm not a big proponent of Amazon, but I don't even think Amazon have it anymore. So So, if you can get your hands on them, this is one. And I've used mine, but there's wonderful essential oils. One that, we all usually have some. If you don't have no other oil, have some olive oil. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a wonderful oil that you can massage into the pelvic area. I've added bergamot. Bergamot I've had, which is related to the heart wound, and then it establishes protection. So if that's what you're feeling, your womb after speaking with her, let you know it needs to be protected because it's been violated in certain ways, then putting that bergamot in with that olive oil and just rub it into your womb area and a nice circular motion, doing prayers, speaking to her, letting her know that you love her and forgive yourself for here, I'm going to say that again. Forgive yourself for any harm that you've done to your womb, whether it be consciously or unconsciously that you're aware of. So I'll say it again, consciously or unconsciously, because sometimes we're doing things to our womb that we don't perceive to be harmful. Okay. But we thinking it's helping. So I'm just saying forgiveness is so important of yourself. You
Starts with
deserve
you.
forgiveness. Don't
Ashay.
wear unforgiveness like an albatross around your neck, because that's definitely going to be a big block for you accepting healing for your womb area. Give thanks.
Give thanks. All right. Womb journaling. Writing directly to or from the womb is a sacred act that allows stored emotions, traumas, and desires to surface and be released. Journaling is one of my favorite tools for so many things, not just womb healing and not just healing, but just documenting, right? I love documenting things, but womb journaling, adding it to your womb massage after you have a yoni steam, right before you lay down for a nap. When you're napping, you might get a download. You could be connecting with your ancestors in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And journaling, writing, sometimes your download comes out in your writing as well. It's
Mm-hmm.
not just, you're not always, if you're gifted, you're not always just going to see a vision. You're not always just going to hear a voice. You're not always just going to feel cold or feel something. There's different actions that actually go along with your journey. So journaling is one of those ways that you can actually receive that message and that download.
Yes, yes. And the journaling also, like I say, you're everybody's not gonna see visions or hear voices, but also going back as a mental health therapist, having that background, when trauma happens, our intuition is disconnected. And here's how our intuition is connected to our womb. When we make comments like, oh, I should have listened, man, I should have listened to my gut. Okay. How many of us have said that? I should have listened to my gut. Okay. That's another way. That's the body telling you that something's disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And it will happen. You'll get disconnected and then you reconnect. You get disconnected, you can reconnect. Because things will happen in this life is going to keep life in. And sometimes you'll experience a life experience that is so traumatic that you just shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Thing to reconnect is to go do that womb work. And so part of that process is just saying, you're not going to hear, everybody's going to experience this a little different, but journaling is a wonderful way to externalize all that you have been processing up here. But there's nobody there to challenge you. And if you have the ability or you have an elder, someone in your community that you can trust, or if you have a therapist, take that, let them know you're doing womb work and read that, because the therapist can catch any what we call cognitive distortions. Those are those thoughts that You don't have no evidence for hanging on to. For whatever reason, you've made an agreement with it and you're going to hang on to it. So sometimes finding somebody that you can share your journal with that's going to hold space for you and respect it. Now, you don't want to
Mhm.
be out here telling everybody your business, but
Right.
somebody can say, wow, wait a minute, I heard this. Can we explore that a little bit more? So when I was a therapist, I would have women do womb journaling, and that would be their practice work. I didn't like saying homework, but because people have trauma around school and stuff, and I would have them read it, and as they would read it, I could catch the distorted thoughts, the all or nothing, the perfectionistic thinking. That
Mhm.
is all connected to trauma.
Listen, journaling, I have so many journals. And, I don't know how many, I don't know if I've told this story ever, but I used to keep every journal that I ever had. I mean, up to the time I was 29 years old.
Mhm.
And, but I burned every single journal I had because my personal journal space was violated. I was married at the time, and I had this one journal. It had all the tea in it, y'all. It had every juicy thing from 21 to 24. Okay, the juice. And I was violated, and my journal was red, and I burned every single journal that I had. And then I proceeded to have a writing block for the foreseeable future after that because I just felt so violated. But journaling really is one of those ways that releasing those thoughts that don't belong has helped me in the past, right? But my therapist does things like that to me. She'll catch those distorted thoughts, phrases, and things that we are associating with ourselves. She
Mhm.
catches me and she'd be like, all right, now you said, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I did. She's like,
Yeah.
yes, you did. Now, please explain and tell me why you're saying that. So, and then I will, and she'll go into why it's not accurate, why it's not true. And a lot of times she reminds me of who I am. And I'm a lucky one. I have a black therapist, and I've had the same therapist since 2018. And so I'm very lucky in that sense that she really truly she knows me, and
Mhm.
I'm blessed. But womb healing and womb journaling, peas in a pod. But I
Yes,
really
yeah.
like that practice that you implemented for your previous clients with that with their womb journaling as practice, right? Because
Mhm.
keeping in mind that we all have different triggers for so many different experiences in life, we don't really think about the words that we use. Here's your homework, here's your homework. That actually probably would incite a lot of anxiety for some people. So I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, let's get to the next one. Herbal infusions and teas. So
Mm.
this is we could talk about herbs and herbal infusions for a whole episode, I'm sure, because herbs are limitless. They go beyond all of the knowing that I already have. There's so much information and knowledge out there that hasn't even been tapped by me yet. Okay? But I have a sense of pride when my sisters know that I'm going to tell them some good information if they have questions around their womb. And knowing a natural remedy to be able to share that's quick and easy, something as simple as drinking a hot tea to calm down them cramps.
Yep.
What is your womb angry about? And I've had to figure out why my womb is so angry. I've endometriosis, I've minimized my symptoms, thank God. But there's a lot stored anger still, right? So I'm still releasing some of that. And there's a citrus mint tea, a blend that I love, mint, lemon, and honey. It's one of my favorite teas when the cramps are building. It's like a buildup. You know, Little Wayne song, the buildup. It's like
Mhm.
that. It's like that. So there are certain blends that I will use. Raspberry leaves, definitely one of those I keep on high stock because it really helps me. But herbal infusions and teas, very quick and easy way to connect with your womb, even if you're not doing yoni steaming. All you got is a hot tea and your womb journal and some essential oil for a womb massage. Good as new.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, the herb, the teas are great. I bathe, and when people come into the store, they're like, "Well, what do you do with all these?" I'm like, "Oh, many things. Many things. One, I love my baths. I look forward to my baths, and I buy bathtub liners because I want to feel the herbs on my body. And for certain ritual practices, we have to have the herbs on our body. Because some people are like, well, I don't want all that. I'm like, well, for you, you make your bath how you want. But for me, there's certain
Mhm.
rituals and practices where I have to have the herbs. I have to have contact with the herbs. And so I love the feeling of them. I love the smell of them. Our skin is the biggest organ on our body. So, getting I've noticed my skin over the years. I'm, knocking on the door to 55, and the herbs have done my skin very, very well. Right now, I went to Jamaica, and the sun, the planetary changes that we're experiencing because we're not being kind to Mother Earth, Gaia. And boy, it took a toll. I hadn't had an eczema outbreak in I don't know how long, but I realized getting in the water I was showering in was hard. I say, who takes a shower and get out and in 5 minutes you ashy? That's how I knew the water was hard. But I came back here and my face just went crazy. Let me tell you, I got me some green Earl green tea, some comfrey, some coconut oil, some lavender. Okay. Use my little Levo shoot machine to infuse it real quickly. Came home, wrapped up my whole body. Look, my hand, I've been rubbing my hand smooth as a baby bottom when it was rough before. Face. Okay. Got up, washed my face with some activated charcoal, and you could just see that dried scaly skin come off. I had to look at I'm like, oh my goodness. But just in that short period of time, them herbs got my skin together. So I'm just saying that it's a wonderful thing to know that something so simple, so beautiful that our ancestors worked to toil to bring to us, and how it's empowering to know when you know what you're putting on your body. So them herbs, you can't go wrong. You can't. And the teas, I drink a deep dream tea at night, especially when I have that missing my mother, missing my father, their ancestors now, and I need to connect with them. So I'll drink that dream tea, and it gives me very vivid dreams. So having those teas at night, in the morning, get your day right. You good to go. That moringa tea, that's been what I've been on lately, is the moringa. I've just been tearing it up in the morning.
Yes, I actually have some moringa. I wanted to comment on the comfrey. I love comfrey in my bath. I am a herb. I'm a herb in my bath water girl. I always have been. And actually, this is a fun fact, y'all. Sacred Woman Michelle was the first person to ever buy my bath ritual kit. All
Oh,
those years ago in 2019, she
really?
literally was the first person to ever buy my bath ritual kit with the herbs and the salt and the candles and all the goodness in my very beginning. Baths are definitely golden.
Mm.
Um I think when I think about herbs, I definitely think about the herbs that are not common here, right? In my Elay, a part of my coven, we do different things. We have different rituals. And I swear to you, there's always some new herb that I'm learning about. I can't give too much away, but I'm just saying, like, there's so much out there that's not even normalized here in our country that have profound benefits for us, both spiritually and physically, right? But comfrey, I definitely love me some comfrey now. I
Yeah.
love me some comfrey in my bath water. It's great for your skin. It really is. It's wonderful, wonderful for your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to this next technique.
Mm-hmm.
Breath work and womb centered meditations. I Okay, so the sacred woman, the book, The Sacred Woman, was my introduction to fire breaths. I have since been certified in the element of fire, but fire breaths are universal, right?
Mm-hmm.
My connecting with my womb started at gate zero and waking up at 4 in the morning and doing those fire breaths. Woke my womb up something vicious.
Mm-hmm.
Soon after Yumiya's inclinations came, it was intense. But your breath work in combination with like a focused meditation, right? Golden.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meditating since I was 20 years old. 20 years worth of meditating experience. And I tell you, the easiest secret that I can give to being able to get into your meditation really quickly is to set your intentions prior to going into your meditation and choose your word. What is the word that directly connects you to the intention of your meditation? And when you're getting into your meditation, eyes closed, comfortable, whatever the case is, as you're doing your breath work, every time a thought comes to your mind that does not belong with the intention of your meditation, you need to breathe it out. And on your next breath in, you need to breathe that word that directly connects you to your intention.
Mm-hmm.
That literally is the best secret. It was the perfect secret for me, the best way that I learned at 20 years old on how to meditate and clear my mind and silence the noise, right? Having that word, it doesn't matter what the word is, as long as it relates to the intention for your meditation. You can get into the deep meditation quickly simply by pushing out that thought or that noise and breathing in that word directly connected to your intention.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think too, when we do meditation, to for those people who might be on this call with us this evening, be ex, expect yourself to be distracted. Give yourself grace. Do a small amount of time. Maybe 3 minutes is a long time when you really think about it. But give yourself time. If you're going to be listening to a guided, because you can find, YouTube, you can find so many African centered meditations guided. But I'm going to tell you something, people can become triggered when not without knowing that they're triggered, because voices and tones can trigger people. So, be mindful of that. Listen to that voice, that meditation. If you on it and we're like, oh, this sounds good, listen to it all the way through before you do the meditation. I used to recommend this. I still do. But when I was in therapy, doing therapy with folks, but even now with my clients, I was like, listen to the meditation all the way through and kind of notice what happens in your body. If you feel any discomfort in your body, don't force it because you like it, because in your brain you think this man's voice sounds sexy or this woman's voice sounds sexy, and you think you gon' nope. If your body tells you you have that Scooby-Doo look, release it, let it go. So I just want to remind you that you're going to get distracted. that you're gonna be thinking, what I'm gonna do. It's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Um, give yourself a little bit of time, but know that, like I say, voices are triggering, and it may mean frequency. I used to recommend a lot of frequency to my clients, and community members that come in and see me, because sometimes somebody told me when I was doing some body work on them, can you put some lo-fi on? I was like, what is a lo-fi? And I looked it up and I found it, but I noticed when I was working, it started to sound like rap beats. And I kept it on because that's what they wanted. But I was like, oh, because sometimes I like music and all of a sudden I'll start grooving to something and forget all about the meditation, what I'm there for. So just be intentional, take your time. But frequency is really great, 432 hertz. Look up those frequencies. There's tons of frequencies around anxiety, whatever you're feeling in that one moment when you need to meditate, around grief, releasing something, letting it go. Look up those suffragio frequencies and write them down, those ones that you can tap into that help you sleep, help you feel rested, help you focus. So I just want to put that out there that, and meditation can be done in any fashion. You can walk and meditate. You can be in nature. It's just meditation is just being present in that moment, in that space called here and now. So you can be out in nature and just want to focus on the bird sounds in the nature. You just want to focus on tuning out the car, but that's a form of meditation. Because I've had Black people ask me, is prayer yes. Prayer is
Absolutely.
meditation. Chanting, yes. Our ancestors did it. When they went to that old church, they got on their knees and everybody was in synchrony. And as you notice, if you haven't noticed, I do a lot of rocking.
Same.
And that is me keeping my body centered and present, even when I'm rocking. So that is what our people did. We rock to the movement, to the sound, to the frequency. Humming is another form of meditation. So it's okay to hum. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there, that it can look different. It's gonna take a little time if you're new to it, but give yourself grace. Don't say, oh, I can't do it right. So you just stop. Extend yourself grace when you're introducing yourself to something new.
Exactly. Oh, that, those voices, those voices come even with extensive experience in meditation sometimes, right? And you so right, extending yourself grace, even in your experience level, grace is always mandatory. The other thing I wanted to tap into is these frequencies. 530, 532, love them. But you also definitely have to be mindful of who you're listening to these frequencies from. Like Sacred Woman Michelle was saying, my client asked for some lo-fi and then it started sounding like some rap. So it's the same thing with frequencies, right? Like, yes, frequencies are great, wonderful, love them, but people still will manipulate the frequency, and you could be getting brainwashed during that frequency. You could be all kinds of things. So be mindful of whose frequencies you listen to and which frequencies you listen to. We don't need to listen to them all, and we will connect to different frequencies, right? We all have different vibrational levels. So just be mindful. I don't do the lo-fi. I don't do the lo-fi. I do frequencies, or I do jazz. Um that's those two, like binaural beats
Yeah.
and jazz and the different frequencies, yes. but I'm very like cautious because it's
Mhm,
easy to just get wrapped up in some stuff. Even
mhm.
just, I like to listen to thunderstorms when I sleep, rain and thunder, right? Um, but there's this one that I have found one time, and I had nightmares. So you really have to be mindful of like the space you're in, what your intentions are, and who's actually creating those beats, and then what their actual intentions are. Just
Yeah,
the first word typically that we find when we're looking up these beats and different things of that nature is going to be a buzzword. The actual intention may not be in that. It might be in the description, and the intention may not be what you need in that moment. So just be mindful when you're
mhm.
doing, guided meditations, or you're getting online and listening to the binaural beats and the different frequencies. Just be mindful. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to scare nobody, but just want you to definitely be mindful of what you're taking in, because as you connect to your womb, as you're connected to your higher self and your ori, if you're not doing proper work or protection work, you find yourself being vulnerable.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. Even going to bed at night, I used to get on my sons because sometimes he would wake up dysregulated. One day he went to school and I went in his room. I'll never forget. And he was listening to, the radio, but the thing was on, but it was die, die. And I said, you know what? That's a frequency. You're going to sleep and you're hearing die, this and that, this rap, these radios, and you waking up and your mood is bad, you're dysregulated, you're being programmed.
mm,
So if you're listening, I say if you're gonna listen to something at night, listen, like you say, either water or rain or something jazz, something with a lot of no words. But when you listening to the radio, you don't get to control what song comes on next. But on a subconscious, when you're in that deep place, you're being programmed. And
mhm.
so he's the way, and he never knew that. He was like, I didn't, and I'm like, yeah, I walked in your room and you got, I'm hearing gunshots and this regular rap stuff, which is, but I'm like, even now here it is. I've listened to some rap. I love me some Be Legit. Before I was a club person. Okay. We all got our time. But I love, and I still listen to Be Legit, but I'm able to, my body lets me know this is enough. Move on. Move on. And I can't listen to it all the time. But
Yeah.
sometimes I do that. It's like if I tell myself don't do something, you end up doing more of it just because. So
Mhm.
sometimes I'll put it on. I might not even be able to get through half, but I'll be bumping that beat, and then someone will be like, get off of this, move on, move around, move
Yeah.
around.
I've been embracing our female rappers lately because I noticed that these men rappers be the messages for some of the rappers like Kendrick Lamar. I love me some Kendrick, but
Mhm.
some of these other rappers I just cannot get down with it. So I really just been like
Mhm.
embracing our lady MCs way more and just diving into that because like Sarah, she's
Yeah,
one of
see
my
that
favorite. She is
that's
one
what I was
of
gonna
my hands down favorite
say too.
female MCs. Rhapsody, like there are some different genres of music with some very, very, very powerful artists. So just being mindful,
Yeah.
when we're doing our meditations, when we're doing our breath work, just be mindful of what you're taking in while you're doing that work so you don't find yourself being vulnerable.
And one more note too on that with our breath work, most of us don't know that we are chest breathers. So I'm also teaching, and when I'm working with my clients and people in the community around when I'm doing somatic body work, is that we want to learn how to do that diaphragmatic breathing. That's from really from your womb space.
Mm-hmm.
And often we're chest breathers. And so reminding people that I have to remind people, I want to hear your breath. You need to hear, you hear it. and push it, even put your hands on your belly. So when you push that air out, you feel it. And so training yourself to do that diaphragmatic that diaphragmatic breathing, I call it the belly breaths, because I said that was the breathing that we did when we were infants. Remember, if you ever watched, you got children, if your mama's on here and or those who don't, but you may have watched your friends or your nieces and you see that baby's chest going up and down, that is from the diaphragm. That is the breath. That's the best breath. And we've gotten away from it. We're chest breathers. So I tell people when we feel overwhelmed and anxious in our body, I tell people take that deep breath in, raise your hand up. And then as you exhale and slowly, and then I said, then stop and see how your body feels. Sometimes we'll do it and not even realize it without raising our hand. We'll just, and we notice something happening. It's like a sense of freedom. It's like it resets your body really quick. That is that diaphragmatic breathing. So we have the tools. Sometimes we just don't, when we get overwhelmed, we just don't know when to use them or how to tap into it. So I just want to remind us about that belly breath, because we chest breathers. We breathing from up here.
Listen, you ain't wrong. You are not wrong. I went through a period like right before I like took my first stint of trying Sacred Woman. I went through a period of like having to catch my breath because I wasn't breathing. Like I would hold my breath sometimes, right? Like with unconsciously really not even knowing, like, girl, you need some oxygen. Girl, breathe. Open your mouth. Breathe. Breath work is so vital. It's really important to us. And it's one of those key things for our womb healing as well. The breath work. It connects you directly to your womb. That's your space, your sacred center. The breath work gets you there.
Yes. And crying.
Yeah.
Get the breath work going too. And a lot of us, as you know, that myth about the strong Black woman, many of us don't feel safe enough to cry. And it's something about our ancestors who did that wailing cry. That wailing cry comes from the womb. It's just that response of letting go. You know, so that's breath work. There are people who do the wailing cry to start release. And then, you know, I've done it where, you know, I will start to do the cry, the wailing cry, and then everything starts to come up. And then here you are starting to cry. Am I making sense? You know, that sometimes, you know, some people can cry at a drop of a hat. Everybody can't do that because that trauma will make you suppress all of your feelings, all of your emotions, and we just become numb. But when we tap it, ask the answer, give me that wailing cry where I just feel it and it just comes up. And when people do it, you could just see how the releasing. It's just like the dropping of the chains. So we got to, like I say, tap back into the things that our ancestors did to get us through tough times. I don't know how many times I've done the wailing cry up in my house, in the tub. The water will bring that water bring a lot of things out of you. Boy, man.
Water brings everything out. My wailing cries happen in the shower. Period.
Yes.
Hands down. That's where the majority
take it to the water. That's why I tell people, take it to the water. Can't go wrong with it.
Listen. In the water. Okay, so let's get to this next. Womb affirmations and mantras. I love affirmations. I have an affirmation on the bathroom on my mirror in my bathroom. I've been reading this Key Persons of Influence book, and they give you this affirmation. So every time I go in the bathroom, I have this affirmation in my bathroom right now. And then I have a couple other affirmations like screensavers, different things like that. I've grown to really loving affirmations, and really ones that come to me from meditation or downloads that I get that just really remind me of my power. Mantras and chanting always, I feel like, intensifies that knowledge that there's a message coming, um, and connecting me to my womb
Mm, mm.
in a different way, right? So all these different healing techniques will connect you to your womb in different ways. You'll feel different sensations in your body, like sometimes when I do divinations, my fingertips, they start tingling. Like there's different things that happen when you're connecting with your womb and using different modalities to do so. But speaking life into your womb is going to be the number one way, I would say, that you can do easily without having to maneuver or alter or do anything. You could put your hand on your womb and speak silently an affirmation to yourself, directly connecting you to your womb. That is 2 seconds. 2 seconds to put your hand on your womb, a minute or so to recite the affirmation. It may not even last for a full minute, but these simple ways of connecting with our womb enhance our essence as a woman. It enhances our tuition. It enhances like the connection we have to our read, to our heart, to through our chakras and down to our womb space. So many things that you can get from affirmations and mantras and chanting.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
love these. I love these pieces of the healing because you could be having a horrible day at work and boom, this affirmation is coming, and you just keep saying this affirmation to yourself, and slowly but surely your day starts to change. Slowly but surely, you're starting to just be like, okay, whatever that is, that we are here now, and you're able to move on with your day in a way that's productive for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I do affirmations when I'm up in the morning, when I do the opening of the way and I do my altar work, and I have a lot of ones and sometimes they're really great when you are having, like, one of my is that I'm responsible for the energy that I bring to myself. That is like a rubber band for me because it stops me when my segment energy want to come out on things. And I have to say, sometimes I'm responsible for the energy that I bring to myself. Another thing is I release it to a positive future. You know, so those are all that's an affirmation I say all the time. And when someone you somebody want to go back and forth with you, and sometimes I just have that's my way of saying, you know what, I'm releasing this to a positive future. It's a that it's above me now. It's above me. So these things, these words are very powerful. And also it's a way to I use some of those affirmations to hold myself accountable, that I don't have to respond or behave a certain way because somebody has said something or doing something. Now, I'm not saying that we got to allow people to run us over, but there's sometimes you got to know to, like, yeah, I got to walk away from this. This doesn't serve me, my highest purpose, or for my greatest good. So I'm with you. I love affirmations. One of mine, I've written some down. I radiate the fragrance of love. My heart is open to receiving love and wellness. So that's my way that I deserve it and I'm open to receive it. you know my limbs and thoughts and emotions are free to move, and I celebrate my wellness. Especially now that one I keep up because I on some level I'm getting older. I have arthritis. I put my oils on, but I'm blessed to be getting older. I'm blessed to have when I open my eyes that I have another day. But still but I'm welcoming wellness. So these things, the affirmations can empower you as well, and it can heal. So having those womb affirmations that you can speak to her, you are loved. You are needed. You are supported. Everything you need is right here. I got you. I'm going to take care of you. Thank you for being a part of me. Thank you for sustaining me. Thank you for the blessings that you've given to me through me bringing life forth. Thank you for the blessings of that, for the life I plan to bring forth. So we can speak those affirmations and mantras right to our wombs. But we also want to say it with conviction, though, too. You won't want to be timid.
Don't be timid.
Be
Come
timid.
on. Say it with your chest, big dog. Say it
There you
with
go.
your chest.
That's one
Say
of them
it
old
with your
school.
chest,
Don't
big
be
dog.
timid. Yeah, say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. Okay. Let's get to this next technique, sacred movement and dance. So I am a little bit shy sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. There are some times where I'm super shy. And one of my one of my sisters, Priestess Omisika, sometimes when you get in her classes, in her ritual, she's gonna make you get up, turn your camera on, and she's gonna make you dance and move around. Why? Because it connects you to your ancestors. Womb healing, womb health, womb wellness, all these things that we're having this conversation about, the ancestors, right? Ancestral wisdom, guidance, healing, knowledge, power. I could go on and on and on, right? Sacred movement and dance is going to connect you, get you moving, get your blood flowing, right? And you're going to get into it. And then the downloads are going to start coming. You're going to start making those changes. Having a ritual in combination, like mixing up some of these things, all of these things, certain playlists. I have a self-love first playlist. Boom, self-love first. I have some different body movements and things that I do different dances that I do when I'm in my house by myself, cleaning, right? Like I'm channeling, I'm doing all this. I'm trying to channel this information, wisdom, and knowledge from my ancestors when I'm directly and intentionally doing womb healing. It also affects you on so many other ways, but we're here talking about womb healing, right? And the techniques, movement and dance are one of them.
Yes.
It's not just about your ancestors, but self-expression as well, right? Like how do you express yourself? Like what is it? Like it's something that we take for granted a lot of times. I appreciate Priestess Omisika when she pulls us out and she makes us get up and she makes us move around and dance. Some of us sit at a computer for 12 hours straight working, right? Because we're addicted to certain things that we're doing within work. Some of us go to a place, my other egg bae calls it the plantation still. Like we have these energies that we need to release, and sacred movement and dance helps us to like loosen up a little bit. It opens us up. It opens up our heart, right? To receive that information. So many things I feel from movement and dance that is just very, you gotta have that one. You have to have that. You have to have it. You have to have it.
And dancing and movement also calms your nervous system down. Okay. And also too, for women, when I've been able to do some sacred circles with sisters, that I trust and love and care about, that dancing naked, dancing naked, um, also, reminding for those of us who may be on here where you have been body shamed or you're not feeling comfortable in your body, that movement, so that you can really look at how your hands go, arms. And I used to tell in therapy, with folks, and is that look at your body. Some of us are ashamed to look at our body, even when we in the privacy of our own bathroom and we getting out the shower, we got to put a towel on. We're ashamed to look. So dancing naked can really give you that clarity about what area, am I hyper focused on, that makes me feel a certain way. Because if your body has been violated in any sort of way, your personal space and body has been violated, you don't want to look at your body. You want to pad your body. And often we pad our body with food. That's first and foremost, or extra layers of clothing. So I've worked with women during trauma work that have never haven't looked at their body in years. They get in, they shower and they covering up. So that movement, getting used to moving your body is stretching, but looking. I used to do the mirror exercise. I would have people get so mad at me, they wouldn't even want to look at the mirror. They wouldn't even want to look at their face in the mirror. So that is part of that healing too. Holding your womb, looking at her as your movement. What is she telling you? Womb, speak to me. What are you telling? Where do you want me to move? What part of my body do you want me to lift my leg up? Even Queen of Four teaches us about exploring your womb. We have been taught that exploring your womb is nasty and it's dirty and all that. Exploring your womb. If you're willing to go to the doctor and let them do the exam, with some unknown stranger, you only know them for that doctor appointment. Just because it's your doctor don't mean that's your friend or family, but you let them explore all up in there. But explore your womb so when you go to that doctor, you can tell them, this is what my womb is telling me. So I hope I'm making sense. Yes.
You definitely are making sense to me. Preaching to the choir, because man, the movements are important. Like it's that channeling piece, releasing the shame, releasing the embarrassment. There's so much shame and embarrassment and like secretiveness that's attached to our wombs that we don't even recognize it. I had a period in my time where I wasn't looking at my body. I didn't look at my body for a full 4 years. And then was like, what is going on? What is this? Right. But that was a whole nother situation. But you're right. Like paying attention to your body is more than just knowing when something is wrong. It's knowing when something looks off or feels different, right? Like, is your intuition moving differently?
Yes. Touching your body.
Feeling your skin. Is it still feeling very soft or is it clammy? Like if it's clammy, why is it clammy? Are you having anxiety? What are you stressed out about? Like, is there something that is heavy on your brain that you need to get off your heart and your chest and you're not doing it and it's affecting the largest organ on your body? Like, are you breaking out? Like, what's going on? What is going on? All of these techniques that we're sharing with you are related. And they all have multiple purposes and healing ways, and you can combine them all in your own way. Let's get to this next one because we still got a couple more slides to go, but this conversation is everything. Okay, so crystals, another one of my favorites. I love crystals. I got a whole basket of rocks. But more specifically, my favorite crystal is the clear quartz. I'm wearing some clear quartz tonight. But clear quartz is, I would like to think and say, my personal opinion, it's one of the most powerful natural stones that God has ever given us on this earth. You have clear quartz in your cell phones. Okay. Clear quartz is an amplifier. You can literally program clear quartz much like a lot of crystals. You can program them for multiple purposes and reasons. I specifically, clear quartz is it's a power stone for me. I have a special clear quartz that I use only for my womb. Like it's charged, it's activated to remove pain from my womb.
Mm-hmm.
It is a sacred tool of mine, right? Because I've been using this same crystal for the same thing for many years. So it's very powerful. But this clear quartz is actually turning colors because I'm releasing the trauma and the things when I'm asking this clear quartz to remove the pain, right? It's literally removing the energy. So, crystal healing, womb grids, they're going to look different for everyone. But you can use a variety of stones. Moonstone and rose quartz and garnet are some of like the most commonly used stones for our womb space. I added in clear quartz because it is the stone. It is the stone you can use for anything. Literally anything. So moonstone is wonderful as well. When it comes to your crystals that you're choosing to use, carry with you, or whatever, have in your home, whatever, however you're using them, my suggestion is going to be a raw stone, one that has minimal maneuvering, like minimal processing, is going to have more power, is going to be more in its natural state. So the power from the stone, the intentions, the reason why the stone exists, whatever, those things are going to be more powerful for you. So when you're looking at having a crystal womb grid, you want to think about what type of stones you want to use and why, right? Like have that clear. Just don't go out and buying all the crystals. You don't want to do that because you some of those we buy crystals sometimes and we lose them right away because they weren't for us because we're already at a higher level than what that crystal can actually produce for us. And it's not the intel all, it's an added tool to whatever healing you're already doing. It's not, the crystal's not going to heal you. The crystal's not going to just take away everything. When I use that clear quartz on my womb space to remove the pain, I have a hot pad right after. I have some warm tea. I have some coconut water and some like there's so many different things that go along and coincide with that crystal healing. It's not just going to be a one size fits all, but they definitely work. I'm a believer in crystals and using crystal grids as an added layer to the work that you're doing, not as the only work that you're doing, but as an added layer.
That's correct. Yes.
So,
As much as possible, clearing them in the moonlight, salt, water. Some crystal you got to probably understand that you can't put in water, so you got to know how to clear them. I've planted crystals in certain plants that I have around my house. I keep crystals in my bathroom because I do bathe with them. So when I do certain baths, I have nice chunk crystals that are beautiful that I will put right around me. And those that I can't put in the water, I have them placed around when I do my baths. So I love crystals too. I love reading about them. People have what they call the crystal water bottles, that where they will make a crystal elixir. But I want to be very clear that if you want to make sure that the crystal or the stone that you're using is not something like, that can, because all crystals, you can't be doing that and then consuming the water. So just do your research on that. But people do make crystal elixirs, or people who add crystals to their body oils, their Florida water. They're very powerful stones. Stones have been around for they're longer than they're older than all of us, and will be here long after we're gone. And our ancestors always went to the stones. When I go to Kemet every year, I bring rocks and stones back from the pyramids. And I make, I've had friends that make necklaces for them. I love them and I'm drawn to them. And so yeah, I can't say enough about crystals. They the biz not e.
For real. And one thing that I really love about crystals and that I've enjoyed learning about them is finding the same crystal, but from different continents. The energy is not always going to be the same, y'all. Like, and I've done my own personal research. I have African amethyst and I have a Brazilian amethyst. I have rose quartz from this continent and I have rose quartz from here, right? While I was in Morocco last year, we got some opal. Like, the energy of the crystal is going to vary. Perfect example, the African amethysts that I have are very dark. They are very, very dark. They are very strong. They make my inside shake. The Brazilian amethyst is very light colored, right? It's very serene, very smooth, right? Two totally different continents with the same crystal. So you're going to find different energies in the same type of crystal depending on where they are mined at.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to throw that out there. I love me some crystals. I really do. I have a chakra wand with these beautiful crystals on it. We made in OHI many, many moons ago. But chakra healing, chakra and crystal healing with womb grids, like, you can't go wrong with adding crystals to your regimen and to your healing for your womb. You can't go wrong. And sometimes, it's going to be an experimental process because every stone that works for one woman may not work for you because you're on different frequencies. So that frequency need is going to vary based on what levels of energy that crystal is bringing. So just keep those little things in mind when you're deciding, okay, I want to try this stone or I want to try this stone, and maybe you don't feel anything. Like, people have been drawn to some of my piece of protection pieces, even some of the goddess dangles that I make, and they'll buy several pieces, but they'll have that one piece that really, really connects them to the intention and the purpose in which they bought the crystal. So just be mindful of, the healing techniques and the healing tools that you're using when you're working with your womb, because what works for one woman may not work for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Let's get to this next technique. Ancestor and spirit work. This has been the underlying base of everything that we've been talking about today, but just to call it out specifically and to give the ancestors their own space, our wombs are ancestral. Okay, they hold so much energy, trauma, and information that we need to really be able to heal ourselves, break these curses, and then bless the generations that are coming after us. So we cannot ever leave our ancestors out. We can't negate the spiritual work that has to be done in coordination with the womb healing. Like, you can't have one without the other. It's just not going to work. One thing that my godmom told me in the very beginning of my journey and mentoring under her is that I needed to do this womb healing because I had to fix these relationships with the women in my life, the women in my family, right? And, that ancestral piece, it stuck out to me. It really, like, it made me feel some type of way, if I'm honest. Like, what? They don't want to talk to me. They don't want to, do these things. And it's not that. It's that I'm vibrating on a different frequency. And I needed the ancestors to bring us to the same frequency. I needed to connect with my ancestors so that the women in my life can understand God is at the center of everything that I do. It's just going to look differently than what you're doing, right? Than what we've been taught, because I'm reaching in and deep down and connecting with our ancestors and connecting with our dearly departed to get this information that I haven't been given. And now I want to share it with y'all. So that ancestral work and that spiritual work is going to be deep, is going to be hard, right? It's not going to be easy, but it's definitely an essential part to the womb healing that must take place. You're not doing womb healing if you're not doing ancestral veneration. You're not doing womb healing if you're not including spirit in the work that you're doing to heal your womb. You basically are just listening to these doctors, right? Like there's these aspects of the healing that we oftentimes just forget, like the crystals and the steaming and the herbs and all those things are given to us by God. And we have to remember that our ancestors knew more than what we know. And they have the experience and the information to actually help us utilize these technologies in a more profound way. The ancestral work and the spiritual work are mandatory, especially if you're calling yourself a curse breaker, a generational curse breaker.
Mhm.
Ancestral veneration is mandatory. Spiritual work is mandatory. Even if that just looks like prayers, right? Prayers and veneration. It's not rocket science. I cannot stress that. It's really not rocket science. It is simple math. 1 and 1 is 3, is what my EA says. The ancestors and the spiritual work are mandatory.
Yep, can't bypass it. Yep,
Mhm.
can't bypass it. And we don't need to be afraid of our ancestors, our spirit guides, whomever that is to you. We don't have to be afraid of it, afraid of them. They are there to guide us. How in terms of my teachings and practices, as a, I practice Kemetic spirituality, but also knowing that when I do my libations in the morning for my ancestors, I call on the ones who lived in a righteous way, because we have to be careful too around that. you know, um, we have to be careful. So we don't need to be afraid. And a lot of times when people come in, or our people come, people who are a reflection of our community, um, we are taught that these things are demonic and evil, and calling them the truest form of death, because we're going to die in the physical form, all of us. We just don't know day, hour, or time. Okay. But the truest form of death is to never speak someone's name. And I say, let that sizzle in your spirit. We know personally people who have left this realm, and we ourselves have never spoken their name. There's reasons probably connected to that. We see it in these European movies where they say we will never. We do not speak their name. They even turn their back. They're in plain. They understood it. They know, but that is real death when no one speaks your name. So the libations, the adoration, the veneration of our, as we say, the dua pose, evoking their name, speaking their name. That's how they live long. They live long. When I leave this realm, and I'm trying to be here as long as I can, but when I leave this realm, I want people to speak my name. So when I pour my out libations, I'm letting the ancestors know I'm pouring out for you, for all that you've done to get me here to this day, as I hope that people will pour for me. But we don't have to be afraid of calling on our ancestors. We don't have to be afraid of them. We need them. We even need them more so now for the guidance. And they're tapped into things that we cannot see in this realm. We cannot even cease to understand. We don't even have the emotional, mental capacity to tap into that. Yeah, the answers are give you gifts, but they know exactly how much you can handle and what you can't. So we don't have to be afraid. We just got to let them know, guide me. like we say, ask the creator, guide me, creator, guide me. Ancestors, guide me. Let me know. But we just have to trust that if we're asking them, they ain't gonna always tell us what we want to hear. That'd be the part. No, that ain't my ancestor, because we want what we want. A lot of times they telling you, you don't want to accept it. And like I say, radical acceptance, nobody's asking you to like it, but if we're calling on them, it's important that out of that respect that we listen, especially if we're taking the time to call them. We don't want to waste their time. I don't like my time to be wasted. So we don't
Facts.
want to waste their time. We want to honor them and approach them with respect and approach them
Mhm.
that they need. We all, we go asking for something, but we ain't bringing nothing. And so that's another thing about ancestral work. We want
Energetic
money,
exchange.
we want abundance, we want cars, we want houses, we want all, we want a man, we want a woman, all these, but we ain't bringing nothing to the table. So that's another, just as a reminder for those of us, or if you're not familiar,
Mhm.
that you know that you got to prep, you got to be ready.
Gotta be ready.
Got
You
to be
got
ready.
to be ready. Stay ready so you don't gotta get ready.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Stay ready. Keep them prayers on deck. Say them
Yes.
names. Pour them libations. Okay? Gin,
Yes. Mhm.
rum, spring water, natural source water. Do them libations. For
Mhm.
real. It's nothing. You're not raising the dead. You really are not. You're not raising the dead by pouring libations. You are helping your ancestor to get to their next leg of their personal journey. They leave this realm and they go to the next leg of their journey. When you venerate them, when you give them offerings, when you put out gin and water and rum and you give your dearly departed food, you're strengthening them. You're helping them on their journey to the next level that they need to get to. It's
Mhm.
not about worshiping any other god. That's not what this is about. It's about being a consistent participant in the elevation of your bloodline.
And I also like to remind us too, all other bodies of culture have done this and they're not as demonized. That I'm aware of. I could be wrong, but they're often not. Black people, we're the only ones most often, and I want to be clear here. I'm not saying that whoever you pray to that's wrong, but I want to say, as an African woman, most deities, everybody, all African people pray to deities that didn't even look like them.
Mm-hmm.
We the only people that pray to. We have to go to outside, pray to somebody that don't look like us, and that's okay. If that's what you believe. But for me, I used to question that. And as I was doing my reading, like all Hinduism, Judaism, all Hare Christian, most of they look like them.
Mm-hmm.
But we the only ones. So we have been taught systematically that what our ancestors have always done for a millennia is now demonic and evil, and that ancestral work is evil and it's bad. But we evoking the names and with language like sometimes that we don't even understand, speaking in tongues, whatever that might be. And there might be people out here who can discern and understand. But some of us are here, listen, some of us have went, and I've had people tell me they have spoken tongues at certain places because they want to fit in, they want to feel connected, and they feel like if they don't do it, they're ashamed. I'm like, I've had to tell people you have to be careful with that because you don't know who you calling on. They're telling you who to call. So you've given up your power. I know who I'm calling on. I know when I say the names, I have them written down. So I
Mm-hmm.
know who I'm calling. We got to know. We got to stand 10 toes down in what we're doing and that it's not performative. Nothing you're gonna do here that we've shared this evening is gonna cause harm to you. This has been done for thousands and thousands of years. We just got separated from it. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
We got separated from it and told that it was bad. My heart tries to be in truth or my eye, truth, order, and balance, true justice and righteousness. And most um, spiritual principles and guidelines have that type of, similar language. It just might
Mm-hmm.
sound different, but truth, justice, and righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
We refer to it as ma'at.
Mm-hmm. We
And
refer to it as the 16 principles of Ifa.
okay.
Listen, ancestral work will take you to the next level. I've personal experiences, you know, the veneration that I do. I have so many altars in my house, and introducing this veneration to my mom was kind of fun. She came to my house over the holidays, and she just kind of was looking around like, why you got all these open bottles of alcohol everywhere? Like, no, mom, I'm not drinking it. It's for the spirits. And it was just this roundabout moment where my man was like, yes, the spirits drink the spirits. Like, and that was that. It's simple, right? The ancestral work, the spiritual work, it's all necessary and needed. How you
Yes.
get there is going to be up to you, but you must understand that it's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with it. If anything, it's going to empower you in an impactful way, the work that you're doing on all levels.
Yes.
On
A
all
sense of
levels.
freedom, a sense of freedom in mind, body, and spirit. You can't buy that. But it comes, I need to say this too, because, it's on my spirit to share this, that this work, for lack of a better word right now, is it comes with a cost. And here, what I say a cost means, if you're new to this, if you're exploring this, I'm going to prepare you that all of us ain't going to be there. And even though we don't expect to be there, people to be there, but it's going to come with a cost, because people are going to look at you different. They're going to treat you different. You're going to lose people. And sometimes I always had to come that, the ancestors will move people out the way if they got work for you to do. Okay. They will move them out the way.
No
And
distractions allowed.
and you're going to feel a certain way. You're going to feel feelings of abandonment, and you're going to question, is this the right thing to do? And so I just want to put that out there, that this is for those people who are Christian. What happened when Jesus, people, hey, they got persecuted. So take this, that this work comes with a price, in a way, because it's not it's demonized. African practices and various form of African spiritual practices are demonized, heavily demonized, and often it's going to come most often from people who are a reflection of you or I. So I'm going to tell you, go in with realistic expectations, that when you get ready to open this up to your family and friends, that you're going in a different direction. Expect folk to, I have family that don't speak to me, don't come around me. I have a niece and nephew that I don't see, because of what I believe in, even though I would never cross a boundary with my niece, to push anything. I don't push any of this on people. This is my path. I also had to come in alignment that it's okay. It's okay, and that everybody's not going to like it or accept it. And what I do is I say, I release them to a positive future. I don't hate them. I don't dislike them, but I have work to do. I'm blessed now to be, had been, I guess, selected, chosen, tapped on, whatever we want to say. And I'm going to be clear, I didn't go willingly. In my mind, my little life was perfect. I was a therapist. I was doing my thing. I wasn't bothering nobody. And then I'm like, goodness gracious. Here now they started coming. So I just, somebody needs to hear that on here. That you are not alone, that you are loved, and that there's a purpose for you. And you are needed. We need it now, because we're in a different world now.
Listen, this world is we're in a whole new world, okay?
Woo.
We out here singing like Ariel, whole new world.
Okay.
It's tough times out here, and you have to do and try different things that you haven't tried before, because the same things that you've been doing before are no longer working, and you can see that it's no longer working. I encourage you to speak your ancestors' names. If you're not at the space to where you want to have an altar with the Bible, some spring water, some gin, say their names daily. It's as simple as that. Have a cup of coffee with your ancestors. If you don't believe in feeding the spirits or nourishing the spirits, and you're not there yet, you drink a cup of coffee and have a conversation with your ancestors and see how your day goes. Let me know how it works out for you. I promise you're going to love it, and it's going to be a part of your daily routine, a part of your daily rituals, right? So much we can stay on this ancestral spiritual work conversation for a whole episode. We surely could. We got a couple more to go. We 2 hours in. Womb baths. We touched on this simply a little bit earlier, but womb baths with those specific womb herbs, your enchanted water, because water is a conduit, and you can ask it and will it to do what you want, right? So you can heal your womb. A part of your healing can be done with bath rituals. Some candles, some herbs, turn those lights off, meditate. Listen to the water, the ripples. Go deep within yourself in that dark, candlelit bathtub with all the herbs and the water that you need. That if you divine on them, some of us, we do divinations. We'll go down the list and divine. Yes, no, this, nope, 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 nope. Candle, yes, this color, nope. All right. Get in there and do your womb bath. Make you a whole batch of this herb so you can have that womb herbal blend for your bath teas, right? That's what I call it, a bath tea. And you can have that moment for yourself, for your womb healing, connecting to your ancestors through your womb, their memory, their DNA, their experiences are all within us, centered in our power source, our womb. And a womb bath is going to help you. Baths are a regular in this house. Everybody in this house gets a spiritual bath. Everybody in this house gets their own spiritual bath, herbal mixtures. My man likes yarrow. My brother likes mint. Like everybody gets their spiritual baths. A womb bath is similar to a spiritual bath, but the focus and the intention is for your womb. You can pair your baths with fresh coconut water. You could pair your baths with a hot tea, if you will, wine even. But I would, it depends on the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Just to be honest. So that ability to use water to will it for your purpose with those herbs that you've asked to bring forth their purpose, your prayer, listen. Bath rituals they're in my top 5. Period. They're in my top 5.
When I'm done with
all of these 10, shower's done, bath is ready.
Yep. I take it to the wise mode, I take baths 2 to 3 times a week. And then, of course, just to sit in water. Water grounds me. So even if I'm just sitting in the water, I'm good. But then I usually, like I say, do my spiritual baths, do
Mhm.
around the moon. I do a lot of bath rituals around the moon cycles.
Mhm.
I feel like, I'm struggling with a particular decision to make. I will take it to the water. That's what I say. With that old take it to the water. Remember our grandmothers were saying that forever. We grew up on that. So I say, I tell them, take it to the water. Yeah, yeah. Be baptized in them herbs. Yes, take it. Rub me down. So I love the baths too. So I'm right up there with you, sis.
Bats are everything. We live in the Northwest and it's beautiful here. So I will be at Joaquina tomorrow. It's already planned. I will be at that waterfall. The water in whatever capacity you can have it. I was okay. So when I first started doing my yoni steaming, and doing my yoni steaming and bath ritual pop-ups, I started doing those like in 2021. I was surprised to find out that a good portion of apartments and houses in Portland do not have bathtubs.
Yep.
So I was like, "Oh, we gonna do a bath. We gonna have a bath ritual pop up because I need these people to come take some spiritual baths." And I've done several pop ups, and I've had several women come and have bath rituals. I set everything for you. The whole situation is set up for you to come in and do the healing work that you need. Baths are they're imperative. And I
Absolutely.
know some women who just do not like to take baths. And I encourage you to figure out why you don't like to take baths and do that shadow work to get past it so that you can take your healing to the next level.
And quit listening to them Europeans talking about baths keep you dirty and all that.
Take
Sorry,
a
we
shower
taught
before or after.
we taught them how to bathe. So let's just be very, very clear. See all on this social media mess. They talking about using washcloth and how often they bathe and what happens. And I've heard you same thing, but I don't like the dirt to get on me. Huh? Well, listen, if yo outside the herbs or whatever you add, if you add in regular bath water and your water is turning 3 shades of gray, that's the body telling you something. Cause I ain't never gotten a tub where my water didn't turn a certain color, unless I've added some type of bath salt or blue lotus or butterfly pea or something to it. Okay, so we got to be very clear that if your water and you ain't adding nothing to it and you simply getting in it, and when you get up, it's a different color, honey, I'm just gonna tell you there's something else going on. And yeah, there's something else happening.
Listen,
Okay. So I just want to be
the
clear. We talk
rule.
about it. So you can bathe. And some people say, well, I take a bath and then I get up and shower. Okay, if that's what you got to do. And you can buy bathtubs. I'm like you they don't build a lot of places now here with baths. So you can buy a collapsible tub that can go up under your bed. Or if you have a walk-in shower, you can buy one that you can put up and put right in your shower. And that's that. Somebody said they
Listen,
cry.
I'm floored right now because we know, those of us who know, you shower before you take your spiritual bath. Okay. And then the next day you take another shower or another bath.
Yeah,
I
don't let
mean,
them lie to
and we're
you.
not even going to talk about letting your punani breathe. We're not even going to get into that conversation tonight because that is absolutely something that women need to hear. You don't need to wear panties 24/7. Honey, you don't. You need to let your punani breathe. Okay.
And
We going not
yes,
get into that. But
Yes, that's a whole nother thing.
the
Um,
baths.
and, yes, and your punani ain't gonna be smelling like apricots and strawberries and wild apples and grapes. And now what you eat plays a part on how your vagina is going to smell. Okay, so let's be clear about that. So that can't. But some these things that we get in our head, we want them sprays, and we
No,
want to smell. You want to be. You want to, man.
no.
You get your stuff shouldn't be fair. Smell like a car fragrance. Okay, like one of them air fragrance things you put in your car. That's not. That's not realistic. Now, if you got a foul odor when you get in the tub to do your baths and whatever, a foul, that's a chemical imbalance. That means there's something happening there. And you don't want to ignore it. There you go. Not messing with your pH. Yes, suppositories. You got to read what's on these boxes. If it's got more than 35 words on it and you can't spell it or pronounce it, do not put it by your womb. Do not insert it. Run, because you're going to pay a price for it. Okay, I'm just saying. Because some of us grew up around the elders, a little older, and you had everything had to smell good down there. You put your drawers on. You got hit by a car, and they take your drawers off. I used to hear these stories. I'd be like,
Yes.
who worried about my drawers if I get
Don't
hit
ever
by
leave the house in no dirty panties. You don't ever know what's
a
gonna
car?
happen.
And these are but these are core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Core beliefs that we get tied to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been nobody there to interrupt it and say, wait a minute, the math ain't mathing on this. Ain't nobody challenged it. So these can be tied to core beliefs that we keep things going, and we're sometimes repeating things that are keeping us ill.
Yeah.
Because it's tied to a deep core belief that we've heard from people.
Mm-hmm. All in all, give your womb a nice bath ritual.
Yes.
You can connect with me. We can figure it out. Definitely have some recipes I can share and some thoughts and things. And spirit uses me as a vessel, so we got this. We can figure it out. If you never had a womb bath, if you need some womb healing, if you want to connect, we can connect. We can definitely get there and get you started. So womb healing, as I said earlier, is not a one-size-fits-all journey. It is deeply personal and layered and sacred. Okay. The techniques that we've discussed tonight remind us that the healing womb means tending to our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual bodies with love and intention. Whether it's herbs, movement, breath work, rituals, our ancestral connection, wisdom, knowledge, and power. Okay. These techniques are not just remedies, they are acts of remembrance, of a reclamation for our bodies, for our wombs, right? And returning us to our power, returning our power to us, enhancing our personal powers, right? Even just embracing it. Embracing, acknowledging are some of the first steps to our womb healing, okay? I just want to thank y'all so very much. There's many other techniques, I know Sacred Woman Michelle has something that she'll be sharing with us as well, something that she's done for a womb healing, a part of her womb healing practice. And womb healing is important and it's imperative, right? If you are feeling stagnated, if you're feeling like lost, if you're feeling uncertain, unsure, and just holding on to the thoughts of and opinions of others, you really need to get deeply embedded in your womb healing.
Mm-hmm.
Deeply embedded. So are there any questions? Does anyone have any questions? We've been going for 2 hours. It doesn't really feel like 2 hours, but we've been going for 2 hours. If anyone has any questions, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. We'll stay on for a couple more minutes. Sacred Woman Michelle feels up to it. Go ahead and drop your questions in the chat. If you feel like this conversation was beneficial for you tonight, if you feel like you've learned some things, you feel connected, and you have it within your means to do so, please drop some love offerings for Sacred Woman Michelle and some love offerings for myself, Priestess Olaia Ifeshebi. My love offerings can be accepted on Zelle at orders at yummiyazinclinations.com. And for SWP Michelle, it's going to be Cash App, $MIC Lewis. Okay, so Jordan, thank you so much, Jordan. Listen, we in here, so no questions. It was definitely amazing. We had a great time.
Yes,
no more questions or anything.
Wonderful.
You have anything that you want to share before we move forward?
This real quick. One of my that I get out of this book that I use, a womb wellness air bath, which is the ether element. Well, one of the things I say after bathing, we really gentle and loving to our body, speaking to our body, allowing yourself to sit in the moment of how does my body feel after having this bath, because part of that is reconnecting ourselves to our body. With trauma, you often get sensitized and closed off from how you're feeling. So it's again with how you're feeling. Take about 10 to 15 minutes to do this. And then my affirmations that I will say is this: I take an air to reconnect to my natural beauty, and then breathe in fully with that. So this is something that I recommend, whenever you're done, just sit for a moment. Ask yourself how you feel, how your body, ask your womb, how do you feel, and right. There's no right or wrong. Don't get into your head and think that you have to have this esoteric type thought, this profound thought. Just write how your body feels. So that's what I wanted to share. Give thanks and praises. And thank you for allowing me to share this space with you and to share with you all. And I just, wish you Uncle Job Seneb life, health, and prosperity to each of you.
Thank you, everyone. Real quick announcement. If you are not already a part of our private community, I'm going to put this link up here, join.learnarishahoodoo.com. This gives you access to our app. The app does cost $22 a month, but that's nothing but a couple cups of coffee for 1 week. And also, once you join the app, there are so many free rituals, mini channels, free mentorship, all the information, community, and just everything that you need for your spiritual journey, all in one place. Okay, it's really beautiful. We are building a very just comprehensive community of the varying needs of our spiritual journeys, right? I've been an Awo for many years. I'm an initiated priestess. There's nothing like having a community of like-minded individuals to connect with and to learn from and to learn with and share stories with and to just build with, right? I'm going to be in Atlanta next week. We're going to be breaking bread, okay? If you need a community to join, the link is at the bottom, join.learnarishahoodoo.com. $22 a month. You get so much for free. So much for that $22. It's nothing. It's nothing. Forgo a couple cups of coffee. You'll be straight. Okay. I am Priestess Olaia Ifa Shabi. I'm your self-love plug. Thank my guest, Sacred Woman Michelle Lewis. It has been wonderful. I thank you.
I think
Next
you're so.
next month's topic. Oh, sorry.
I said you're so well.
Next month's topic. We're gonna have a generational conversation next month. I'm bringing the elders. We having a conversation with our elders next month. We are going to be talking about the change, aka menopause, and all that comes with it. Okay, so we are going to have some elders in the building. I'm looking for a young person in their 20s, okay, to join this conversation, and we're going to have a generational conversation. We are going to ask the questions that is on our hearts, right? There's no such thing as a stupid question to me. Okay. So if you have the question, ask it. I guarantee the elder in your life can give you an answer. Even if it's a parable, it's still an answer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So next month we are going to have a generational conversation. Join us for Sirens Lounge live next month for our generational conversation. As I always say, test these waters if you want to. Peace.